finger down if when you were in high school you picked up your younger sister from middle school like you always do, but this day she was screaming in pain like you thought she was actually dying, so you freaked out and you called your mom who told you to take her to her work so she could take her to the hospital. So you were going 100 miles an hour down the road just to try to get your sister to your mom before she died in the back seat of your car. And then your parents ended up taking her to the hospital where they figured out she had kidney stones. And there were two different nurses who were watching over your sister who were supposed to be working together, but your parents heard them get in a fight in the hallway, so the nurses stopped talking to each other and didn't know that each nurse kept coming in without the other one knowing, giving your sister more morphine. And your dad said, "Hey, don't you think that's enough morphine?" And one of the nurses said, "No, we've been keeping track of the morphine levels, don't worry about it." And then your mom and dad are talking in the room and they notice your sister's leg fall off the bed and they look at her and she's bright blue, and it turns out that the two nurses had overdosed her on morphine, so they had to do a crash cart to bring her back to life, and they figured out she had been dead for 10 minutes because of this overdose on morphine. And then the hospital tried to charge your parents because they killed your sister.
Put a finger down if you woke up this morning to go take a shit and you used your dad's bathroom because it's the master bathroom and it's the nicer one, so you just like using that one. And you're taking a shit, watching a YouTube video, and you suddenly hear moaning. But you don't think anything of it because you're in the bathroom, why would anybody be moaning? And then you hear louder moaning and you realize that your parents are having sex. And you're now in the bathroom with no escape because if you go out, you're walking out on them. So you just sit there listening to them having sex, not knowing what to do, knowing that someone's gonna come in the bathroom after they're done, and it happens. And then they found out you were in there the whole time. And then you walk out, and it's awkward as shit.
Put a finger down if you started to get really bad headaches when you would read or look at a computer or watch TV and you've never had glasses in your entire life. So you go to the eye doctor for the very first time and he dilates your eyes, which you don't know what that means, and it stings really bad, and then you can't focus your eyes, and the eye doctor says that you're definitely going to need glasses, so he points you to go look at the wall of glasses. But by the time you get over there, you can't see anything because your eyes have been dilated. So you think to just pull out your phone and take pictures of the wall of glasses to look at when you get home and your eyes readjust. But by the time you get home and look at all of the wall of glasses pictures that you took, you realize your front-facing camera was on and you didn't know it because you couldn't see anything. And then you had 28 pictures of you looking at the wall of glasses instead of the wall of glasses.
Put a finger down if one time when you were 5 years old you fell off a chair at a restaurant and your mom was super concerned because she saw you hit your head and she was worried you had a concussion, right? Like any mother would be. But she checked you for the concussion and you're all good, no concussion. So you go on about your life. And then a few days go by and you have to go to dance class and you're dancing around like 5-year-olds do at dance class, and you have to do a plie and your teacher asks you to do plie and you realize, crap, I can't do one because your arm starts hurting so bad and you start crying, and then your teacher yells at you for being a crybaby and tells you to suck it up. And then after class she goes and tells your mom what happened, and your mom just blew you off because you were a super dramatic child. Well, a few more days go by again and suddenly your arm starts getting purple and blowing up twice the size it actually is, and you realize that something is wrong, and you get rushed to the ER at 2 a.m. and realize you've been walking around with a broken arm as a 5-year-old for a week. You've been walking around for a week with a broken arm.
Put a finger down if when you were 13 years old, you were driving home from the grocery store with your mom when you noticed that you started bleeding from your vagina. So you look down and you just cross your legs a little bit tighter thinking, oh, it's just a period. But then moments later, you feel the drop. You know the drop. You feel the biggest drop you've ever felt before. And then you look down and you realize, oh shit, that's a lot of blood. The blood is actually pooling off of the seat of the car and onto the floor of your mother's minivan. So you start freaking out, and then your mom notices, and then your mom starts freaking out. So then you guys drive to the emergency room and you rush in there. And then you call your dad and you say, Dad, I'm in the emergency room. Actually, my mom called my dad and she says, honey, we're in the emergency room. And she's like, what's wrong? And then your mom's like, Emma's losing a lot of blood. And then your dad's like, oh, it's okay, you can lose like a pint of blood. But little did he know you already lost more than a pint of blood. You lost so much blood. And then the 8 doctors poke and prod at your hoo-ha for the next 2 hours just for them to tell you they have no idea what the fuck is wrong with you. So you go to a bunch of specialists over the next couple months and they finally tell you that you have an extra uterus. Yep, that's right, you have 2 uteruses.
Okay. Put a finger down if you ever had a really big crush on a YouTuber when you were like 12 years old, and then you watched his videos every single day up until you were about 14, and then you just started to grow out of his content, so you stopped. Fast forward to late 2018, you're 19 years old and you're being nostalgic, so you decide to follow him on Instagram, and he follows you back, and then he slides into your DMs, and then you guys start talking for months until he eventually buys you a plane ticket so you could come see him, and you go like a dumbass and you fly out to California to meet a YouTuber that you you've had a crush on since you were 12, and you don't even tell your parents or anything, and then you guys proceed to have a weird on and off dating thing for a couple months until he decides to just stop talking to you because he just doesn't like you anymore.
Put a finger down if one time in 5th grade you didn't want to walk to school, so you asked your mom to take you and she said no and you said please, and she said no and you said please, so she did. And then right in front of your school, she got pulled over for expired license plates, and she didn't have a driver's license, but when they ran her name they saw she had warrants for her arrest, so they arrested her right in front of your school and everybody saw. And then you were confused on what to do and the cops said just go to school, so you crossed the street and went to school, and everyone was like, oh my god, what happened? You were like, I don't want to talk about it. And then when you got home from school that day, all your siblings were like, oh my god, it's your fault that mom went to jail. And when your mom got home from jail a few days later, she was like, it's all your fault I went to jail. And you're like, I'm okay. And then she was like, well, I'm out on bail and the cops are going to come back for me and arrest me. So she was teaching you how to lie to the cops. And you were like, well, can I say you're in the shower? And she was like, if I'm in the shower, where am I? Dumbass. Tell them I'm in Utah. And then the cops did come back for her and you lied and said that she was in Utah, and it worked and they went away.
Looking to transform your room into that vaporwave aesthetic? Check out StardustLEDs.com for premium lights perfect for any room. Use the code in the description for 10% off your order.
Have you ever looked at your boyfriend and thought, damn, I could have done so much better?